How do we know where to put our veg patch?
Yeah, I mean sometimes you might be limited to a small garden, but if you have a bigger garden, you'd really go around and dig a few sample holes and hope that the soil is good.
Yeah.
If it's not good, you simply have a raised bed or import some soil. The deeper the topsoil, the more fertile the crops are, and the deeper your carrots can root in. No plant will actually root into the subsoil. So we'll take that sod in for afterwards and have a look and analyze it. Okay. So we've only got about 15 centimeters of topsoil, and then we go straight into the subsoil. Ideally, you want actually a blending in, a slow gradient into subsoil, but there it's like cut-off point, isn't it? Can you see that?
Yeah.
So that's all your plants have available. I think it's a great soil, a good structure to it, crumbles nicely, lovely and dark colour means a high organic matter content. Yeah. The only worry I have here is it's a little bit on the shallow side at 15 centimetres.
A little bit stony as well,
and
but that could...
very stony, yeah. I don't think that's a very good soil now for growing into it.
Okay.
So I would consider making raised beds.
Okay, and that effectively brings,
increases
the level of topsoil.
Absolutely, and you can have this one connected with your raised bed, of course.
So adding things like compost and manure, this is something we need to be doing every year, effectively.
Yeah, just imagine vegetables have grown here, leeks and onions, they have absorbed nutrients. Yeah. And you've taken them away and eat them. So you have to close that cycle. Whatever has been taken out needs to be replaced.
Okay. Klaus, obviously like the commercial food chain just uses, chemical fertilizers to why can't we do the same thing?
Please don't. They're more damaging than you think. If you use artificial fertilizers, all that they contain is 3 nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, NPK. Mm-hmm. And if you put that on, that's all the plants get. You feed the plants and not the soil. Your soil will never be improved. If you add compost or composted manure or even the fresh seaweed, your soil will get organic matter and humus in it. It improves the drainage of the soil, it improves the structure of the soil, the crumbliness. Yeah. It makes the soil darker, so it warms up early in springtime. It has a multitude of uses.
Rather than just bringing in those 3
Absolutely.
nutrients.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing is plants require 3 major nutrients, but over a dozen trace elements. Right. That'd be like the vitamins or the minerals we need. And if they don't get them, they can show deficiency symptoms.
Okay. So our first option then is the
farmyard manure. Yeah. Okay. Just make sure that it's really well decomposed. Sometimes you can go wrong with farmyard manure if it's still fresh and very smelly. Yeah. Because, and it seems a bit strange, the nutrients then are quickly available to your plants. Yeah. So there's a lot of nitrogen freely flowing around in the soil. Yeah. And that's not good for some vegetables.
Right. So the slower release is
the slow release. The older the compost, the slower the release is.
And this could be pig manure, horse manure, cow.
Yeah.
Could be hens, could be
absolutely
ducks.
Anything really, as long as it's well decomposed.
Okay.
The best time to apply manure and compost would be in early spring or late winter. Okay. If you put it in autumn, there's a lot of rain and the nutrients of it will wash away. Okay. Unless you cover it with black plastic. And then you could do it before you put the plastic on. Okay. You don't need to be too scientific. I probably would use half a bucket to a bucket per square meter.
The second one then is compost.
Yeah, very much the same uses as for the manure.
Yeah, just add it to the soil in the same way.
And dig it in.
Time of the year. So then, Klaus, our third option is the seaweed, and I suppose not everyone's going to have access to it in the first place, and then there's that whole kind of dodginess about whether it's legal or illegal to take it, but it does effectively do the same thing as the compost and manure.
It's a different time of year though, so I use it every October. Once I have the vegetables out, when the beetroot is harvested and when the beds are empty, then I pile a big load that thick of seaweed on top of the ground. I don't work it in. It'll break down. By springtime, by March, it'll be down to that thickness. Then I remove the hard bits that won't decompose and put them in a compost heap. Okay. But the best use for me is in October when your crops are out and leave it as a winter mulch on top of the ground. Yeah. And the amount of worms you'll get underneath is incredible. They seem to like it.
But you can see there with the amount you'd need. We've a full bucket has just covered about half a metre there.
Yeah, I'd rather have it higher even. So a wheelbarrow load per metre nearly.
So maybe not for everybody, but
No, it's hard
great
work
if you
to
can do
collect
it.
it. Yeah, you can get seaweed dust and calcified seaweed. They would supply the trace elements,
right.
but they
They
wouldn't
don't have the bulk.
improve the structure of
Yeah.
your soil.
Yeah. We've got a kind of a range of products here in front of us for feeding plants.
Yeah, some crops are really greedy. You know, tomatoes, they grow tall. You can just imagine how much they take out of the soil. So sometimes it's necessary to top dress them, to give them an extra sprinkle or liquid of some sort. There's a range of products available. That's the chicken manure. It's actually it's made with seaweed.
Okay.
So it's poultry manure composted with seaweed. Within a couple of weeks, it'll be starting to release its nutrients.
Okay.
And it'll last for about 3 months.
Yeah, so like during the year, if you outside in the vegetable patch, if you needed to, you could use these as well.
Absolutely, yeah, especially for the heavy feeders like cabbages, when you
Yeah.
see that they really need a boost of energy.
We've also got a kind of a liquid plant conditioner here, which is again made from seaweed.
Yeah, you probably don't like that as much as the other bits. That's very strong, strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
you can smell the sea though, which is
it's
good,
just
I guess.
concentrated seaweed liquid and diluted in water, and we just water it again all around, not just around the plant itself. That wouldn't have a lot of nitrogen and now in. That's not one that will give a boost to plants, but it's one that will make your plant healthy and strong. It's a range of trace elements in it.
Okay. The third thing we have here, which is very interesting looking. These are worm casings.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at them. I'm jealous now. It's better than my compost, even, isn't it?
So this is literally
worm poos.
Explain what this is. Worm poo.
Yeah.
So
That's all
this is the worms. They're feeding on the compost or the soil or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is what they excrete basically.
Yeah. Called worm casts.
And this is really high in nutrients.
Just sprinkle it quite generously around the plants.
These are going to be the best fed.
The best fed tomatoes, having all of it, huh?
So Klaus, we've looked at some of the products that you can buy. This seems to be something far more rustic going on.
Far more rustic, isn't
and
it?
a much more sort of farmy smell going on here.
Absolutely. As well. That's my own special mix. Seaweed, very good compost, and comfrey. The compost is the secret ingredient, really, because if you compost has all the goodness and all the microorganisms in, so they'll really make that a powerful tonic.
Okay.
Put a bucket full of each in, and then fill that with
fill
water. So we dilute it 1 to 1, and I keep topping it up with water as I take a watering can out.
So this is like a completely free plant tonic, homemade.
Absolutely, a little bit smelly, but very effective. So Michael, all we do is we half fill that and then top it up with water and water all the tomato plants with it. And the tomatoes will be forever grateful for you. Great, will we go?
Yeah.